I'm Tanuja Ramchala, career coach at the Zicklin School of Business in the Graduate Career Management Center. And today we are going to be talking about informational interviews. So an informational interview is a conversation with someone working in an area that interests you, who will give you information and advice about a career path, industry, and company. It also gives that person an opportunity to get to know you. So the purpose of an informational interview. The first purpose is research, right? Because you're trying to understand a field. Before I make a commitment to this field, I want to understand what I'm getting myself into, and I'm not just going to go blindly into it. So this is for your benefit in terms of doing your due diligence and getting all the information you need before you make a decision. So this is part of the process of gathering information and really understanding what are the skills required for this job. Do they match with my strengths? Does this feel like something that I want to be a part of? And understanding how you fit in to this field. The other purpose of informational interview is networking. It's connecting with people in your industry and that you're building those relationships. It's a very low risk way of networking because all you're doing is asking for information. You're not asking for a job. The reason networking feels hard for most people, it's not because they don't know how to connect with people. It's because they're afraid that people are going to perceive them as using them. So most people, when they're going into networking, they're just focused on this has to result in me getting a job. But if you're just asking somebody for information, if I'm just calling up somebody and saying, hey, Aliona, can you give me some more information on this job that you have? It's versus me saying, hey, Aliona, I'm just calling you and I just wanted to see if you have a job available for me. Very different approach. So you want to also see it from this perspective of all you're asking that person for is information. And of course, in that process, there's that opportunity for you to bond with this person. And in bonding with that person, it could result in a job, but that's not where your focus is. The great thing about informational interview as well is the other person feels valued. And that makes somebody actually want to connect with you more, as opposed to I am just connecting with you because I want a job. And that's when the other person feels used. And that's what's going to cause them to resist and want to pull back and not talk to you. So when you value people and when you see them as valuable, they are more inclined to want to have a conversation and want to talk to you. It's also a great way for you to build industry connection, to really start cultivating these relationships, because now you're talking to people and also those people know people, and you can also ask them to connect you with others who can give you more information. So here's where you're building your connections. So if I'm starting off in a field and I don't have much information about the field and I don't know, say I'm just starting out in accounting, I'm like, this is an area that I've been exposed to a little bit and I don't have enough information. And you're a professional in working in audit, and I reach out to you and I say, Mr. Smith, I'm just reaching out to you because I see that you've gone to Baruch and you've worked in audit for the last 12 years. And as a Baruch student who is just starting out in this field and in my first semester, I was wondering if you have 15 minutes to share with me some of your experiences so that I can be better equipped to make a decision in my career. You on the receiving end of this, how would you respond? How does that feel to you if somebody reached out to you and say that? So Alphonse, it sounds very professional and would make me want to help them. So Anusha is saying I would share my experiences to help a student. This is also something you all want to realize. I mean, if you're a recent graduate or you're a student, people are recognizing that you're in a learning phase of your life, and they're very forgiving in terms of not expecting you to be an expert. And this is where people are willing to open up, and you can take advantage of that. So Mary was saying I would be willing to give them my time and help them get a clear understanding of what I do. So Danielle saying it would be an honor to give my experience. So Samantha saying in terms of being a student, it's very true, never even thought of it that way. Yeah, so you're in learning mode, and imagine somebody comes to you from high school and reaches out to you and say, hey, I see you're going to CUNY, and as I was exploring colleges and weighing my pros and cons, and I wanted to reach out to you to see why you decided to choose Brew College. How would you feel about just having a conversation with that person? I mean, my guess is that you would actually be excited to have a conversation and share your experiences, because that person sees you as somebody that's come. Samantha, exactly. I would feel humbled that they came to me, right? And here you all are putting all of this pressure on yourself. And what is this person going to think about me? And are they going to reject me? And are they going to respond to my email? And again, they may not respond to your email, but imagine that feeling that other person gets if you approach it the right way, right? If you're sending it from that space of, I value you, I value your opinion. Yeah, Amanda saying I would be happy to. It would make me feel important to them. Exactly, right? So again, people want to feel valued, but people do not want to feel used. So Samantha saying in general, great. Yeah, so this is life advice, right? In terms of just connecting with people from that place of non-attachment, and I value myself. So who to reach out to? First of all, you can do an informational interview with classmates. So somebody who's probably held an internship or has a job in the field that you want to get into. They may have a better understanding of the field with that experience that they have. So you can schedule time with a classmate to just catch up over coffee or just have a informal chat to ask them more about the field. So certainly that's one way that you can do informational interviews. Alums, so if you're a graduate student and maybe from your alma mater, you can actually go back and look at who's in the field and connect with those people, and it's you already have something in common. Also the alums of your current school, so if you're going to Baruch, connecting with alums who are working in the field, there's something in common there that makes it like a really low hanging fruit, an easy way to connect. Professionals you met at an event, you could actually either connect with them at that event and ask them questions, or you can reach out to them after the event. Professionals on LinkedIn, you can reach out to them and connect with them. Also, LinkedIn is going to show you their career history, so you can get some information beforehand and prepare questions. And anyone you want to learn from, it's basically anyone. You don't have to restrict yourself. So let's look at LinkedIn. I don't know how many of you know of this feature, but LinkedIn has a great feature in terms of searching alums. And basically what you do is you would go and you would type in the school that you want to search for the alums from. So for example, you go in the search box and you type in Baruch College. It's going to bring up several things, but it brings it up in Baruch College school. When you see the school one, you actually go and you can click on that. And then it brings you to this page, and then you can see here on the left hand side it says alumni, and you click on that, and when you click on that it brings you to this page, and it also allows you to filter these alums, right? So you can say where they live, where they work. In the search box you can actually be very specific in terms of what you type here. Like you can type data analytics, or you can type audit, and you can even filter saying that I want people from the greater New York City area. You can also go down to the level of where people work. So if you want people only at JP Morgan, you would click on this. And this allows you to drill down so that you are actually, your search is going to produce people given those criteria. And from that, you can actually go through those profiles and see who are some of the people that I want to talk to. So in terms of the initial outreach, you want to research the person before you write. So if you're gonna, reach out to somebody via LinkedIn, for example, or you're reaching out to a Baruch alum, researching the person before you write. So knowing a little bit about their career and what is it that I want to learn from them. Why is this person somebody that I want to talk to? So checking in with yourself as well. Like, why is this somebody that I want to talk to? Why is it that I'm moved by this person's profile? Second thing is you want to really contextualize your message. So again, in the context of like, what is this common thing we share? If you share something in common, I see you're a Baruch alum. And you also want to explain why you're writing and let them know why you're choosing them. This is valuing them. Why is it that you're choosing them? You want to let them know that you're grateful for their consideration, because it's a favor that they're doing you. They're not obligated to have this meeting with you. So that's going to be really important. Keep it short, keep it to the point. You don't need to go into a long email. So what do you guys think of this as an outreach? Dear Mr. Smith, as an aspiring project manager, your career path caught my attention. I don't know many people who have worked at Google, Amazon, and NBC. I'm impressed with your background and skills. Since I'm exploring various industries, I'd really appreciate your input on tech and media and how I could stand out. I know you're busy, so even if you have 15 minutes to hop on the phone, it would be greatly appreciated. If your schedule is full, I completely understand. Please let me know. Thank you so much, Jane. So Sophia saying the email does not give pressure to the reader. Amanda saying I would feel honored. Samantha saying great shows. They're aspiring to go somewhere. They're eager. They did the research and shows they're considerate. Yeah. So Aluna saying I would feel like responding because the person is not asking for anything. I cannot give easily. Exactly. So that's something that you want to keep in mind in terms of your outreach. Acknowledging the person, explaining a little bit about why you're writing. And even in this email, you could have said, as an aspiring project manager, getting my MS in information systems, your career path caught my attention. So the person also knows that you're a student. So preparing for your meeting, assuming that the person agrees to a video chat, a phone meeting, if you can do this in person, you want to prepare for the meeting. So you want to ask yourself, what is the information that I want to walk away with? What is it that I want to know about this industry or this person? You also want to do some research on the person, like going on LinkedIn or the company that they work for, looking at their website, looking at, finding as much as you can about them, and not going to Facebook and not using Instagram. Just know where to draw the line, right? You want to also know why you're excited to talk to them. Why is it that this is somebody that you're excited to connect with? Because certainly you can say that. You can say, I'm really excited to connect with you because of the experience that you've had. And I was impressed with how quickly you were able to move up in this industry. And again, being on the other side of this and hearing the impact that you've had on someone, it really makes people feel good about themselves. You also want to prepare questions so that you can steer the conversation, because again, you're doing the outreach, you're the one who's leading the conversation here. And be prepared to answer questions about what you're looking for and what you have to offer as well. So being prepared to talk about yourself, like the classes that you're taking, the experience that you've had, the internships that you've had as well, because that's probably going to come up in the conversation. And in terms of some starter questions, and of course you can, questions are going to emerge as part of the conversation. But you can also ask them, how did you get started in this field? What is it that made you want to pursue this as a career? What skills and qualities are required to succeed in this field? What do you like most about this industry? What do you like least? If you could change one thing about your career, what would it be? And of course, you can ask many, many, many other questions, but just as a starter in terms of what you can ask. And if you've read the person's LinkedIn profile and you see things that are specific, you can certainly ask questions about that. Like, what is it that made you want to change from tech to media? What is it that made you decide to get an MBA instead of an MS degree? Like, those are questions that you can certainly ask the person based on what you've researched about them. And then having the conversation, thank the person and respect their time. So if they say 15 minutes, as when it's coming up to 15 minutes, don't try to ignore it and push it. You can say, I see it's coming up to the 15-minute mark and I want to honor your time. Dress appropriately if meeting in person. A startup culture is very different than financial services. So knowing the industry and dress accordingly. Again, doing the research and preface questions with what you've learned about the person, about the industry. So when I say the preface the questions, is like, I see you've been in this industry for the last 25 years. Also showing them that you've done your work, also showing them that you've taken the time to do your research. Then listen, just be present, listen, and then, respond based on what they're saying. Again, it may spur questions. You can also ask them towards the end of the conversation. You can say, this was great, and I was wondering if there's anybody else you would recommend I talk to. And this is where you're going to start building your connections and look for ways in which you can be valuable to them. They're not expecting you as a student to be an expert, but you can certainly be valuable to them in terms of resources that you're providing. And in terms of if you're doing this over coffee and in person, show up early. You want to, as I said, dress well. You also want to secure seats before they get there. So just don't stand outside and wait. Go in and find a seat and offer to buy their beverage of choice if you're meeting over coffee. Offer to pay. They may not allow you and they may say, no, I got this, but you take the initiative in terms of offering to buy their drink of choice. And then in terms of following up, sending a tailored thank you note, being very specific, what you appreciated about the meeting and just saying thank you for the time. And then update them on any advice or meetings with other people that they recommended you talk to. So for example, if they sent you an article and they say you should read this article, just tell them what you thought of the article. What was your takeaway from the article so that they can actually see that you've taken that advice, or if they've recommended that you talk to somebody else, you can also let them know that you met with so-and-so person and here's what you got from that meeting. Elna's valuable is showing up as somebody who's resourceful. It's not just adding value again in the area that they're working in professionally, but it could be somebody that says, oh, you know what, we have this great executives on campus program at Baruch, and I think you would be great as a mentor. If you're interested, I can send that information to you. For anything else, in terms of like something comes up in a conversation and you talk, say for example, somebody loves wine and they brought up in the conversation that they just took some class on the different types of wine, and say you're from Argentina and you know about wine, you can say, here's a great wine that I would actually recommend. It can be so many different things, but it's not just this one dimensional thing of I am just here to get information, but also to showcase who you are as a human being. So in terms of just recapping what we talked about, you want to do your research. Be clear about what is it that you want to know going into this meeting. What is it that I want to come out of this meeting knowing? Be genuine, be grateful, be enthusiastic, be curious, right? It's asking questions. It's like just seeing that person, seeing that there's somebody that can add value. And look for ways that you can add value as well. How is it that I can be a service to this person? Do not ask for a job. Do not ask for a job. One thing that you can do in an informational interview is that you can say, here's my resume. I was wondering if you have any feedback in terms of what I can do to improve it. This also gives that person the opportunity to see your resume. So after the call, I would recommend certainly sending a thank you note. But if you need to follow up, again, if they've recommended that you read a book or they recommended that you connect with somebody, those are opportunities to follow up. Or if you recommended the EOC program and you send them that information, whatever it is, you can follow up as needed. And don't be attached to the outcome. Like, don't be attached to this has to go, a certain way and this person has to like me. And don't be attached to the outcome. It's just about you going in, getting information from somebody you see as a resourceful person who can give you that information, and you're going to show up as yourself. You're going to prepare. You're going to do all the things in your control. So that's what I wanted to share about informational interviews. It could be a great way for you to gather information. It could be a great way for you to build your connections, very low risk and effective. Okay, guys, have a great day. So I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.